Hello, and thank you for watching this September 5th weather update, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I'm a senior atmospheric scientist and co-founder of Agrible. Even though it is Labor Day, work in agriculture never slows down, and the weather never seems to observe our nation's holiday schedule. Well, when it comes to weather, all attention seems to have been given to the development and the landfall of Hurricane Hermine over the last week. While only a weak hurricane by ranking, the impacts were significant along Florida's Gulf Coast, where storm surge and flooding rains threatened homes, businesses, and coastal property. This radar animation shows Hermine's trek through Florida, Georgia, and into South Carolina last week. All of that rain added up, though, to over 6 inches in many locations along the Atlantic coastal plain and Florida. Cotton and peanut operations in this region are assessing the impacts of these torrential rains now that Hermine has transitioned to an extratropical system just off the mid-Atlantic coast. With sustained winds of 70 miles per hour, Hermine is a strong post-tropical cyclone, but thankfully it is pretty far off the coast and battling with some unfavorable conditions for re-strengthening. Still, the northeastern United States will have to deal with some high surf, beach erosion, and bands of heavy rain with moderate strength winds through the first few days of this week. Hermine's presence just off the east coast will play a role in the position and strength of the jet stream for this week. Here's the setup. A large ridge in the jet stream south of Alaska will determine the airflow over the United States for this week. A downstream trough over the western United States keeps temperatures cool in the west, where mountain snow is even expected to fall in parts of Montana, while the higher country in southern Oregon is under a freeze warning on Sunday night. Now for the Corn Belt, the ridge builds this week, and with it southerly winds and warm and humid days through the end of this week. This warmer weather will certainly remind us that summer doesn't end till the end of September. Okay, so here's what we're expecting for those temperatures. This map shows the temperature anomalies, which are differences from normal, that we're expecting around midweek. And this map is very representative of what we can expect through the end of this week too, with much above average temperatures. That warmth is ahead of a slowly moving front seen right here that will serve as a trigger mechanism for storms though for this week. The Storm Prediction Center is watching that boundary closely as several rounds of severe weather are possible Monday through Wednesday in the Great Plains and the Western Corn Belt before the front finally advances east and cools the Midwest back down just in time for next weekend. So here's the total accumulated rainfall animation for Sunday night this week through Wednesday. We see the northern and western Corn Belt will be the main target for rainfall as the storms fire along that boundary I just showed as the air flows around that subtropical ridge in the southeastern United States. Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio stay pretty dry through the first half of this week, even though the temperatures will be building back toward the 90s. Now beyond this week, both the GFS and the ECMWF, which is also known as the European model, project a very transient flow in the jet stream, meaning more frequent troughs passing through the United States. That type of flow pattern most likely means that this week's heat might be the last of the upper 80s and 90s that we're going to see for the rest of the year in the Corn Belt. This map in the background shows the general flow pattern for Tuesday, September 13th, and unlike this week, a broad trough is forming over the Great Lakes while a ridge builds out west. This pattern signifies two big things. First, we're expecting now a cool down for mid-September. And second, this will lend itself toward a wetter pattern for the Midwest and the Great Lakes, but much drier and warmer out west and drier than average in the southeastern United States. Well, as we finish this video, let's discuss the long-range forecast for winter of 2016 and 17. Currently, a weak La Nina is taking shape in the Central Pacific Ocean, while very warm ocean temperatures reside in the northern Pacific, the so-called positive phase of the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, or PDO. Using these two pieces of information, along with analog years, our statistical model forecasts, and long-range dynamical model forecasts, we need to watch for this flow pattern in the jet stream for this winter. This flow pattern would favor wet conditions for the intensive agriculture that happens in the Pacific Northwest, as well as an active storm track through the Midwest. This could also lead to near average or even potentially cooler than average winter weather for the Corn Belt, while the southeastern United States may have a drier, warmer bias for their winter. Now, I'll keep you updated on this forecast and how it evolves over the next few months. But just remember this, a return to near average for this winter will feel very cold and very snowy, given how warm last winter was across the middle section of the United States and the East Coast. Well, as always, we at Agrible will aim to bring you the best possible weather forecast information through our morning farm report so that you can efficiently plan your operations. We thank you for your attention and hope you look forward to our next weather video update. Thank you.